I invited Tony Saldanha, one of my best speakers in here, and I'm glad to have time with you to invite his wonderful speeches here. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Alex. A pleasure to be here.
Could you introduce yourself to us?
Absolutely. So, my name is Tony Saldanha. I was Senior Vice President at Procter & Gamble globally. I worked with P&G for about 27 years, and I had the privilege of running IT, information technology, and global business services in all of the regions of the world. And I left P&G about 3 years ago to write a book and to start speaking about digital transformation. And so today, I advise about 20 of the Fortune 100 companies, their CXOs, on digital transformation.
Oh, great. This is 2021, and this is November, and this is among the pandemic. So
Yes.
what brought you here in Korea?
You know, firstly, I never need an excuse to come to Korea. I love Korea. This is my 10th visit to Korea. One of my last visits internationally outside the US before the pandemic closed all the borders was to Korea. So I've been looking forward to coming back here. I think that peace and familiarity that I have with the people and the country here. Of course, I love the food, I love the culture, I love the technical advancement of some of the companies. I mean, you know, many of the Korean manufacturing companies essentially are the factories for the rest of the world on technology and products. So I love that, but at the same time, I like speaking in the conferences because people are always open to ideas and they constantly want to learn, and I learn a lot through the process. So I have been looking for every opportunity to come back here.
Sure. Wonderful. So I was impressed on your story about the GBS. Yeah, so you played a wonderful, the result with a wonderful team, and it's very successful. The digital transformation business management story for us. Digital transformation in business leadership and management is an inevitable choice.
Yes.
But still, transformation is a kind of difficult stages
Yes.
because we are not all the engineers or technicians at all. So, what point? How can we start?
Yes, it is. It is a very good question. It's a very important question. It's a question that many leaders of big companies keep asking, which is the expectation that all of us become IT technical people, because that's not possible. And the answer is no. The digital transformation is not about making everybody into programmers or technical people, right? It is about being open to how technology can change the way you do your profession. So, just to give you some examples. So, I have 3 sisters. One of them is a lawyer. 2 of them are university professors. So, law. Today you have got artificial intelligence in China that can actually judge small claims in courts, right? Instead of using a judge, you can use artificial intelligence. So does this mean that the role of the judge is not needed anymore? No, absolutely not. That's not the case. So in that case, what needs to happen is that people who are judges, they need to understand how they can use technology as a tool. Just like in the old industrial revolutions, you know, when electricity was introduced, it did not replace the workers, but the workers started to use electrical machines to do their jobs better. So the same way, I think all of us don't need to be, you know, IT people or technologists. We need to understand in our own profession. So in the case of my sister, you know, how can she use artificial intelligence to take some of the routine decision making, so the small cases, and you know, and let the machines to do that, and the more interesting, complicated cases, that is really where the humans can play. So the good news for you know, people like you and me who are not technologists is that we don't have to reinvent ourselves. We don't have to go to programming classes to become technologists. What we need to do is we need to understand which of those tools we can use in our current profession. And as long as we are open to that, we can make a lot of change happen in our profession. So at Procter & Gamble, with GBS, or Global Business Services, this is an organization that was already pretty big. It was about $2 billion of annual spending, and it was considered to be already very good. You know, it was a benchmark. It was best in class. My job was not to become a technologist. My job was to understand which of these technologies we could use to do our existing jobs better. So, to give you some examples, if you are a purchasing specialist, can you use artificial intelligence to give you a benefit as you're negotiating with another person? You can get better data in real time, so you can do your job better, right? So these are the kind of examples that I learned over the last several years on how to become better at doing my job using technology.
Okay. Thank you. I just worried that I lost my job instead of AI, or I need to go to some private academy to learn some codings.
No, you are too smart. No, that is never going to happen.
I very appreciate your advice. You say that AI will bring out big changes and make a big differences. We know that. But not only for the AI, we face very many new tools, such like XR, AR, or now in Korea, especially the metaverse is very popular word in these years. So how can the business adapt every time on new tools on our business areas? So how can we respond to this digital disruption and digital transformation?
So you used two very important terms there, digital disruption and digital transformation. So it is really important to understand those two words so that you can answer your question, which is how to keep learning about the new tools, right? So what I believe is that the fourth industrial revolution, which is where we are at, is basically how new digital technology is changing the way business is successful. So, for example, the field of law will continue to exist, but how you do law, whether you use papers, whether you use humans, or a combination of humans and technology, that essentially is what is called digital disruption. So when people, lawyers, are successful in the third industrial revolution, if they can use the tools to be successful in the fourth industrial revolution, that is digital transformation. They are able to transform themselves to do their own jobs, but much better, right? So the reason why it's important to understand what digital disruption and digital transformation is so that you can then stop worrying about all the technologies and what it is going to do for you. What happens is that people get very excited but also very worried about technology. And the reality is that for us in the business, technology is just a tool, and there are many new tools which are coming. It is our job to understand the use of the technology and to pick the right technology. So for example, yes, artificial intelligence, metaverse is very, very popular. Blockchain is very, very popular. But I never worry or I never get excited by these. What I do is I ask myself, what is my business? If I'm a lawyer, then I look for very specific examples. Which area of law is artificial intelligence changing? If it is changing small claims court, then I go and study that. But other than that, I don't worry about technology. I only worry about the use of technology for my business. And as long as we do that, I think we will be successful. because again, our job is not to become a technologist. Our job is to be a lawyer or a speaker or an events person. And if we understand how we can do that better using technology, we will be successful.
Sure. Thank you. Okay, good. Impressive. So you just reduced my worries. And surely my another Korean audience is also. Okay. So before we closing this interview, could you give any comments about our Korean audiences who is little afraid of our new technology or who is very eager to see a very new future?
The Korean audience, one of the reasons I like coming to Korea is because the audience is always open to ideas. They are very, very smart. They have very open minds and they are looking for ideas, not just from me, but others as well. And I love coming here because in the process of talking, I also learn a lot. See, the fact of the matter is that Korea is leading the world in so many areas, not just technologies. Many of the manufacturing technologies, many of the fourth industrial revolutions, many of the heavy industries, Koreans are on the forefront of the revolution, right? The fact that the audience understands that this is not just a country phenomena, but a global phenomena, and are open to change and are open to new ideas, that's what makes you successful. And when I come in here, I become successful because I learn about the possibilities as well. So I look forward always to these visits, and I am sure I look forward to seeing all of you become more and more successful in the future.
Thank you, and I also very sure that we can keep our engagement like this.
Oh, I would love that. Thank you.
Yeah, Tony Saldanha, one of the best my speaker, and I'm very glad to share his visions with you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.